I think it's a beautiful tool. Obviously, AI is not going anywhere. So if it's there, I'm going to leverage it. But with that, of course, use discernment. Like, don't just follow it willy-nilly. Like, see what it has to say and tune into your body. Does this resonate with me? Does this feel right to me? Does this align with me? What a beautiful practice of aligning with your intuition. I think AI is just a mirror back to humanity. Like, this is human created, right? So it's just like mirroring back to us our own consciousness. And it happens to know like all the things, right? So that's what makes it so useful, is you can find information so fast. So that's my disclaimer with ChatGPT. I think it is a beautiful tool. Use it with discretion. I know people have a lot of thoughts on it, but honestly, it's helped me in so many ways. Welcome to Alignment Adventures. This is a podcast where we explore what it means to live a fulfilling, aligning, and present life. I'm your host, Lindsay Tanner, and I am so grateful that you are here. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Alignment Adventures. Deep exhale. It feels so good to say that. And honestly, if you would have asked me a few days ago, I would have been like, no, I'm not recording a podcast for a while. Like, I need to take a break from it. But after having some little breakthroughs that, of course, I want to share on here, and just realizing or re-realizing, I've said this so many times on here, how cathartic this space is for me and how much my soul needs it. Like, no matter what else happens, my soul loves expressing myself in this way in this season. And that may change. It's going to change. I just know it will change. But right now, it just feels so nice to share my thoughts in this type of format. If you follow along with me on Instagram, you know that I've been posting a lot on YouTube, which I love showing up there too. That really is a space where I can like document my life, which I love doing because we get to go back and like look at our trips and look at different seasons of my life, and it's all saved on there because otherwise it's just like all these random videos on my phone. So that has been really fun to show up on there. But honestly, I love just like a sit down space like this. Like, I love the energy of podcasting. I love how I can just come on here with no plan sometimes and just share my heart. Like, there's just something about this space that is so different than any other space that I express myself on. And I just want to share, like, if you are feeling called to express yourself as well, like, don't dim that part of you, because I know for myself personally, when I do suppress that part of myself that wants to like share, even if it's just like one person listening, I need to share my thoughts in some way. It just helps me process. This is how I process my emotions. So if you are listening, thank you. I love connecting with all of you. Like, let me know in the comments. Seriously, I've said this before, but in the comments on YouTube or on Spotify, or text me or message me on Instagram, how have you been feeling in this season? It's been a season. There's so much going on. Those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in deep winter right now. So hopefully you are nourishing yourself and slowing down if you're feeling called to slow down, or if you're feeling energy of the new year, which it's still like kind of New Year time. It's like beginning of February as I record this. That's awesome too. If you're not, that's beautiful. You're aligned with the seasons. We're going to talk about that today too. But whatever you're feeling, it's valid. It's very valid in this season. There's a lot going on in the collective. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on with us individually. And being a human is no easy job sometimes. So just like be compassionate with yourself as always. Okay. Where do I start? Because last time I was recording a podcast was before Luna got here, and I was talking about how I had so much anxiety about when she was going to show up. She ended up being almost exactly 2 weeks late. So that was a whole soul lesson in presence. And I'm not even going to go into her birth because I have a whole YouTube video on her birth, and you can hear the noises and all of that if you really want to. You may not want to go that deep, but I share what that experience was like for me. In short, it was very magical and primal and intense, and everything I was trying to manifest in a birth. So I'm very, very grateful for that experience. And yeah, I'm just not going to go too much into that because that could be this whole podcast, and that's not what I want to talk about today. But yeah, last time I was on here was before Luna was born. Now she is almost 5 months old, so it's been a minute. And she may join us later. She loves to pop up in my YouTube videos. Right now she's napping. I actually tried to record this earlier with her with me, but I was like, you know what, let's just put her down first, see how this flows. And here we are. Now I've got this beautiful sunshine coming in through the window. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that. I have a very imperfect setup right here because my previous podcast space now has her rocker in it. So we're just flowing with life. And I think that is one of my greatest lessons in this season is being flexible. And I feel like that is such a gift we can give to ourselves, especially as parents, is being flexible. Because when we're too rigid and when we hold on to expectations of how things should go or how we think they're going to go, that's when we set ourselves up to be disappointed and angry and resentful. And I'm just like in that spiral of learning that lesson of being flexible. So this is me being flexible right now by setting up this little space right here in the corner of our front room. We actually call it the dancing room sometimes because we will dance in here, which is so nourishing for my soul, as cheesy as that sounds. But yeah, this imperfect setup, and let's just talk about life, shall we? So some things I really want to hit on today. First off, I've already mentioned this, but I really want to go deeper into this, and that is living seasonally. I'm like almost irrationally obsessed with this, and people may look at my content and be like, wow, she like really cares about the wheel of the year and these quote unquote holidays and Sabbaths, I call them. But I really do. Here's why I love living my life seasonally is, a big part of my message is being present. And if we're not present, like we're just not like enjoying our life, right? Like that is such a key part of fulfillment and happiness is being present. So when I like dive into the themes of the seasons and how to celebrate the seasons, for example, we just had Imbolc, which is halfway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So we're like halfway to spring, halfway through winter. Honestly, I think something to celebrate for sure. We need that celebration at this time of year. It just helps me really ground myself in the present moment because it's so easy to be like, oh, I'll just be happy when it's warm outside. I'll just be happy when it's spring. And then spring comes and you're like wishing for the next thing. Human nature. I do it all the time. I get it. I've talked about it on here a lot. But really tuning into the themes of the season really like just encourages yourself to kind of hone into like your own soul's growth, which I don't want to jump around topics too much, but I did a deep dive on my astrology through ChatGPT. That is a whole thing I want to talk about on here is how I've been using ChatGPT recently. But man, no wonder I'm such a deep thinker. I have so much Scorpio in my birth chart that like it makes sense. I'm a deep thinker. I got to make meaning out of everything. I love to go deep. I love to evolve. I love to grow. I love to transition. I love change. I love all those things like death and rebirth, not actual death and rebirth, but like the metaphorical death and rebirth. You're probably like, what? Lindsay's obsessed with death. What is going on? But the metaphorical death and rebirth, like, yeah, that's just a part of who I am on a soul level. So where was I originally going with this thought? Oh, tuning into the themes of the season really helps you just like evolve as a soul. And I think that is a key component to helping us thrive and be fulfilled. I know for me, if I'm not growing in some way, I do feel like I'm dying. Like if I'm not evolving in some way, I do feel like I'm dying. Again, going back to my Scorpio-ness and all the other facets of me. But I think we all have that to some degree. We came here. We are here on this planet to grow and evolve. And that's why we have challenges. That's why we go through all these different seasons. That's why we're seeing what we're seeing in the world right now, is it's helping all of us grow. Things are changing. No one can deny that. We are in a season of change. Things are changing on a collective level. Things are changing on an individual level. And when we lean into that and see where the lessons and the growth lies in those changes, like that is just so fulfilling. It makes me just so, I don't even know if happy is the right word. It just makes sense. It just makes sense that that's why we're here. And why not leverage the hard times as much as you can. Of course, rest. Of course, take time for yourself. Like, you don't have to, you know, that saying recently of like, it's not that deep. People say that a lot, like on social media. I get it. Some things aren't that deep, but for me, a lot of things are deep, and I love going deep, and I love making meaning out of things, because that just helps me show up as a better mother and human and wife and just all the things. So the season, let's talk about like the themes of this season. So like we said, we just had Imbolc, February 1st. Right now it's still about slowing down and going within. That is what winter encourages us to do always. Like, if you're really been tuned into what I've been talking about, I may sound a little repetitive, but it's worth repeating. If you're feeling that nudge to hibernate, do it. It is hibernation season. Like, be cozy, get all the things. Like, I have so many videos on my YouTube channel about how to thrive in winter. So gift yourself that cozy time before we head into spring and things ramp up and you're starting to feel that rejuvenating energy. So like Imbolc is all about maintaining that inner spark. Like, what are you doing to maintain that inner spark within yourself? For me, it's doing things like this, recording podcasts, making videos, reading, stretching, moving, dancing, connecting with my friends and family. These are very simple things. They don't have to be complex things, but how are you nurturing yourself and your spark in this season? So you can go into spring, which is like people call the true new year, the spring equinox, with an aligned and present and grounded energy, because that's like the greatest gift you can give yourself. So if you're into seasonal living, come along with me. I'm going to be sharing so much of it this year on my YouTube channel and all my platforms. By the way, this is a random thing, but I had a reel go viral on Instagram, and it had nothing to do with anything I talk about on here. Like, the irony of it. It was a video of Steven doing our new New Year's tradition. He's done it a few years now, where he has like a financial review PowerPoint. And honestly, it's amazing. I love how financially savvy he is. I love the planner energy in him. Like, it really complements my energy. So I loved it. And I just had a video of me drinking my sparkling grape juice. People thought it was wine, which was hilarious, watching this PowerPoint. And it has over 4 million views, which is just insane to me. So that was interesting, having something go viral and getting so many opinions on that. It was honestly, what's the word I want to use? A good self-reflective practice when you have so many people sharing their opinions of you based on like this tiny thing that you posted. And I think I needed a little taste of that, because obviously I post on social media all the time and I don't get that much positive or negative feedback. So that was a good lesson on like, hey, if you keep doing this, you're going to be seeing a lot of this. Like, can you handle it? And I was like, okay, like, is this something I want to continue doing? And it just like, again, the irony of it, it wasn't even something that I talk about on the reg. And everyone was like, can we please have this PowerPoint? We'll pay for this PowerPoint. And Steven's like, it's literally like 3 slides and it's not even that like complex. So that was interesting. Man, I keep losing my original point because I just veer off in directions. That's just how my brain goes. Postpartum brain, man, that is no joke, no joke. But I will say I am feeling so rejuvenated today because I have been using ChatGPT to help my 4-month-old sleep between congestion, the 4-month sleep regression, and what else happened? Oh, we were traveling for Christmas. Her sleep got so mixed up and it was rough. It was really rough. It was like back to newborn times. Arlo didn't even go through that. So let's move on to the next thing I really want to talk about, which is using ChatGPT for random things in my life. But honestly, this has helped me so much. And before I even get into like the whole ChatGPT thing, let me share my personal thoughts on it. So personally, I think it's a beautiful tool. Obviously, AI is not going anywhere. So if it's there, I'm going to leverage it. But with that, of course, use discernment. Like, don't just follow it willy-nilly. Like, see what it has to say and tune into your body. Does this resonate with me? Does this feel right to me? Does this align with me? What a beautiful practice of aligning with your intuition. I think AI is just a mirror back to humanity. Like, this is human created, right? So it's just like mirroring back to us our own consciousness. And it happens to know like all the things, right? So that's what makes it so useful, is you can find information so fast. So that's my disclaimer with ChatGPT. I think it is a beautiful tool. Use it with discretion. I know people have a lot of thoughts on it, but honestly, it's helped me in so many ways. You could use it for everything in your life, obviously. And I don't want to get like atrophy with like my own knowledge. But honestly, as a postpartum mother whose brain doesn't always function correctly, it's really nice to have that tool. So anyways, I've been using it for Luna's sleep. I type in all of her information, like how old she is, when she's been napping, and then based on like her age appropriate wake windows, ChatGPT just helps me figure out like when I should put her to bed and what strategies I should use at bedtime. And what's cool is it's not like this is such a heated debate. I can't believe I'm even getting into it on here, but it's like not even close to the cry it out method. We love polarity in this time and space. There are the people that are all about co-sleeping and like that kind of stuff, which great. If that works for you, that's amazing. And then there's the people that do sleep training, and cry it out can sometimes be associated with that, but doesn't necessarily mean that. So there's like two sides of the pendulum. I feel like ChatGPT really helped me find this medium where I was still doing the practices that align with me. Like I'm still nursing her to sleep. I'm still rocking her. But honestly, through like just talking it out with ChatGPT, who has all the knowledge on 4-month-old sleep, all the knowledge, she is now, the past 3 nights, knock on wood, slept through the night. So last night, I got 7 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and I feel like a new human being. I say that with so much compassion to the people going through sleep regressions and lack of sleep, because that is no joke. It is so hard to function as a human, especially a mom, when you're sleep deprived. So if it feels aligned, use ChatGPT. It's free. I mean, I think you only get so many questions a day. I'm like using the free pay version right now because I love it so much. But that has honestly helped me so much. So that is one way I'm using AI in this season to help me live a more aligning, fulfilling, and present life, because sleep helps me show up as my best self. I think we can all agree on that. The second way, and went into such a deep dive last night. Honestly, it was so aligning. And I realized that I did this after I had Arlo. Something about after having both of my children, I want to like deep dive into my astrology. Like the first time I really got into astrology was right after he was born. And now the second time I'm like going even deeper. And it's so easy and streamlined with ChatGPT. I even sent in to like the Illinois Health Department to get my birth certificate, because my mom was like, I think you were born around 10:15, but I'm not sure. And like, you need your exact time to really get like the most accurate reading. So I ordered my birth certificate. So if you need to do that, order your own birth certificate through the state that you were born in. And I typed in all the information, the location, time, date, and I am able to get so much information, and ChatGPT is able to interpret it into the ways that I need it interpreted in my life. For example, a big struggle for me, and I've been very honest about it on here, is like my struggles with being a stay-at-home mom. Like I just struggle with it so much sometimes. I'm so grateful to have this time with my children. And also there are days where I'm just like, I want to enjoy this more. Like, why am I not enjoying this more? So I asked ChatGPT to like explain that to me through the lens of my own birth chart. And guys, my mind was so blown. Like, I wish I could just read you our whole conversation, because it was one of the most validating conversations I've ever had in my life. I just say what you want about astrology. You know, I saw this thing that was like, astrology is not a science, but neither is religion. And look how many people live their life through the lens of religion. And like, we can't deny that the moon has an effect on us. It has an effect on the tides. Of course, it has an effect on us and the other planets. Like, everything has energy, and that energy affects us in certain ways. And it doesn't like dictate your life. It just is a mirror. It's a lens to look at your life through. And honestly, for me, it was so validating. I talked about this already, but like the Scorpio energy that I have is very like loves change and going deep and transitions and evolving. So like, no wonder I feel stuck sometimes, because stay-at-home moms can feel very like redundant. It's very emotionally enriching, but my days can be very redundant. And I've always been like this, but I'm like, how do people have the same job their entire lives? Like, I'm just not that person, and my chart totally reflects that back to me. So I was even able to like deep dive into my struggles with motherhood in general, which was so interesting. And then in terms of like my quote unquote purpose, my soul's purpose in my career, which first of all, ChatGPT was like, let's get this clear. Your soul purpose is not necessarily tied to your career. And I was like, I think everyone needs to hear that. I mean, I think that's especially true for me based on my chart. And I think that's true for so many of us. We want to tie our purpose to our career and our path. I think it's just the way our culture is and like the way our society is set up right now. But those aren't necessarily the same things. Yes, they can bleed into each other and like overlap a little bit, but they're not the same things. And ChatGPT was like, let me be very clear. Like, you do not have a single path for your career. You are meant to evolve and change and do many different things. And I'm like, yep, I feel that. I feel that deeply. And this was another reason I was so inspired to get back on here, because I was just telling AI, which I know this sounds so weird, like talking to AI, talking to a robot, but I was like, I love podcasting. I miss it, but it's just hard in the season. And I've shared this on here too. Like, it's just hard to find time. Like, I only get to do these things when my children are napping. And it was like, maybe just do an experiment. Go and record a podcast and see how you feel. And it's also given me so many great tools for how to navigate nap time and stay sane. Like, just release the pressure. That's another thing in my chart. Like, I do not do well with pressure, which I've been putting so much pressure on myself, which it's just so interesting how it all works. But releasing the pressure on getting so much done during nap time and just using that time to reconnect with myself. That is what I need in this season, is to reconnect with myself. It's not about output. It's not about productivity. It's not about numbers. It's not about any of those things. It's about reconnecting with myself in this season. And this platform is a great way for me to do that and express that. And through YouTube and through motherhood. Motherhood has just been such a beautiful lens to help me grow as a human and as a mother. And I love looking at motherhood that way, because I do struggle sometimes. Like, I do not relate to the motherhood content that's like, I'm just so happy all the time, which I don't even know if there is content like that. I just feel like I see people post about it that are like, I love being a mother so much, which I do. I am so grateful for my children and I love them with my entire existence. But it's also really hard, I should say, and it's really hard, not the but, because it doesn't negate that. And it's really hard and I struggle. So I just want to be that voice in case anyone else needs it. Like, especially transitioning from 1 to 2. Like, I haven't even touched on that here. And that's been a huge thing in my life, is transitioning from 1 child to 2. Like, there are days, like I said, her sleep has been really tricky, where it takes her forever to get to sleep at night. So it's like, even that break I had at night has dwindled away. So I like go hard all day, no breaks, because naps have been rough too. And then at night I go straight into like, I just need to go to bed, and then I wake up at night and do it all again. And I don't say any of this for sympathy, or I share it to like connect with all of you that are maybe going through the same thing. And also, this was another point I had that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully this isn't too rambly, but that's just how I am, especially in the season. That's how my brain works. Is I really don't want to be a victim to motherhood. I want to experience it. I want to grow from it, but I don't want to fall into this victimhood energy with motherhood. Like, oh, I'm a mother, so I can't do this and I can't do that, and I have to give up and sacrifice all these things, like martyrdom. I don't want that energy. I do not want it. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, I have challenges. And I get to choose my perspective with motherhood. Always. You get to choose your perspective with anything. Like, how amazing is that? I'm not saying it's easy, but with anything, we get to choose our perspective. With anything in the world, anything that brings us stress, we get to choose how we see it, and we get to choose our energy always. How beautiful. How magical. I made a reel about this. That has been one thing I've been focusing on recently. I'm like, I feel like short form content is more doable for me in this season. So I made this reel, and I don't think I've posted it yet, talking about how like we forget we can create anything in this world. Like if we wanted to create a life that was really magical, which that is my word for this year, is magic and living a more magical, witchy life, do it. Like you have that autonomy. You have that autonomy to live a more magical life. Or this is a silly example, but I see people that celebrate Halloween all year, like, and just relate it to all the different holidays. Do that. If you want to live a life that has more like vibes from the 90s, that's also a very popular thing, is like the nostalgia of the 90s, or like having an analog life this year. Do it. Like you have the power to create a life that you want. So if you're wanting more witchy vibes, magical vibes, nostalgic vibes, peaceful vibes, happy vibes, like you have the power to create that in your life. Right, it was just a matter of time before Luna made her appearance. So if you're watching on YouTube, here's our little Luna bug, we call her. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? She's like, what is all this stuff, Mom? What is all this? All right, I just looked at my notes to make sure I hit on all the points that I wanted to. A quote that has really resonated with me in this season, I actually put on a letterboard in my kitchen, is grow where you're planted. I saw one of my other favorite creators who's got a witchy vibe say that, and I was like, oh, that is so needed for this season. And I feel like relates again to my core message of being present. Like, how can you grow where you're planted? Because we all have circumstances that we may or may not be loving right now, and those are our circumstances. Some of it we can change, some of it we may not be able to change. And where can you put your energy into your own growth, on the things that you can control and the things that you can change to help your own soul growth, rather than focusing so much energy on trying to change the things you can't change, like where you're planted, for instance. Like, okay, maybe you can like get up and move right now in the season, like literally or figuratively or whatever, but maybe you can't. Maybe you are stuck where you are right now. And how can you grow where you're planted? That just feels so good to me. And that is the energy I'm bringing into spring. That is the energy I'm having for this year. And yeah, just feels right. Right, Luna? And also, if you're interested in using ChatGPT, especially when it comes to astrology, here are some interesting prompts that I'm going to be diving into when I have time, either later this week or later this month, because we actually leave for Florida tomorrow. So yes, I used my time today during nap time to record a podcast rather than pack, and that's just such a Lindsay move. I'm a procrastinator. I'm a last minute packer to a T. But here's some things I'm going to look up. So obviously, you can look up your overall astrology birth chart interpretation, see how that relates to things like your career or your soul's path or any struggles you're going through. Like, you can really get into the weeds with ChatGPT. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's not just like Googling things and getting a very broad answer. It gets so specific and like learns about you and tailors it to your energy. It is so cool to see. Like, what a cool tool. Again, use it with discretion, use it in alignment with your intuition, but such a cool tool. And also, this is something I want to do, is see how it compares to like Arlo's birth chart. Oh, excuse you. And Luna's birth chart and Steven's birth chart. I just think that's going to be really cool to see how it all lines up. And maybe someone that you really like have a difficult relationship with, put their birth information in. And if you don't have their birth time, maybe you can get that information in a sneaky way so you can see how your astrology overlaps. Because honestly, for me, it's been scary accurate. And not even scary, like mind-blowingly accurate and just very validating. It's been able to put things into words that I've felt for a long time, but not been able to verbalize. And that has been very cool. Very cool. So I'm going to leave you all with that. Thank you as always for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Who knows when I'll be back, or when I'll post this, or when I'll get this edited, and when it will be up. Hopefully not too distant future from when I recorded this, or maybe I won't even post it. Who knows? But if you are listening, thank you so much for your time and energy. That is such a beautiful gift to receive, and I do not take it lightly. I hope you all are doing so well in the season, and I'm just sending you all the alignment, all the high vibes, all the beautiful energy, magical energy as you continue on through 2026 or whatever time and space you are listening to this in. And Luna gives her 2 cents as well. And we will see you in the next episode of Alignment Adventures.